Hi, I'm Amanda, a lettering artist from Brisbane, Australia, and thanks for being here at the Summer Creative Retreat and my little corner of the world. I'm better known over on Instagram as the Prettiness Project, and my signature style is brush pen blends with abstract outlines. So that's what I will be taking you through today. We're going to do a step-by-step class so that you can blend and outline along with me, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun along the way. So thank you again for being here. I'm really excited and I hope you are too. So let's go. So this is all of the materials, the tools that we're using today. This is the downloadable template. We've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Tombow colors. Whenever I work out a color scheme, I always do a little bit of a test blend. I've got my number 2 round paintbrush. Very important is your paper towel, some water, rubber, pencil, my N95 that I will be laying down the letters with, a ruler, and then to finish we're going to use the Sakura Micron pens, and you can see that my 05 is particularly well used. My Uniball Signio glitter pen and my Uniball Signio broad white for all of the highlights, etc. The Bristol is tremendously smooth. I never use my Tombows direct onto any kind of paper with what they call tooth. That's how smooth the paper is. So your standard printer paper and things like that, you can't blend on printer paper. It's just not going to move for you. So you need something fairly sturdy and something that won't absorb the color so that it'll sit on the top and give you time to blend it. So I've tried lots and lots and lots of different papers, and the Strathmore Smooth Bristol is my favorite. I buy in big sheets and I cut it down. The first thing I'm going to do is actually letter the words down in my Tombow N95 light grey, and what this is going to do is give me a base to letter over, to blend over. Blending, there's lots of different methods of blending. I like using my number 2 round brush and some water. You could use a water brush like this one, and that's the Pentel Aquash brush, and I use that all the time, but I particularly use the Pentel Aquash when I'm using watercolor paper. And things like car and markers, which are really inky, I'll use they need a little bit more water. With the Tombows, I like to get sort of really soft blends, and I find that the number 2 paintbrush gives me much better control. So I'm just going to start with my first color, which is my 679. And I'm going to, you don't need a lot. Using my brush and I'm just going to run that color down. Now, the other thing I actually had on the materials list was a palette. And one of the reasons I use a palette, I've just got a piece of acrylic, but you can use a plate, any type of ceramic, a proper blending palette, any of those things, piece of plastic, a plastic bag. So when we're blending, if you get little marks or it doesn't look even, if you swatch out a bit of the color on a blending palette and pick that up with a little bit of water, it will help you blend the colors together. So I'm not using that right now. So we've done the purple, the 679, following the lines of our grey N95 that we set down already. I'm just picking it up and pulling it down. And then the next colour is going to be our 817. So I've got him just on the end here. And down this way. So it's sort of like colouring in, really. So what I'm going to do now is I've just dipped my paintbrush in the water. I dab it on my paper towel and I come back and I'm just running him up into the purple. Following the lines of my grey N95, and you can see that you can get that lovely soft blend. Oh, that's too much water. And then over this side, come back with the pink into the purple. Like I said, I think the grey underneath just really gives you an opportunity. Now this is, see, I need a little bit more grey there, purple, sorry. So I can pick a little bit of the purple up from over here on my palette and bring him down. And there we go. So now we're ready for our third colour on the tea, which is our orange. And I could realistically have just gone purple into orange, but anyone who knows about colours, that tends to get a bit muddy. So that's sort of why I stuck the pink in the middle to buffer that colour on. So you can see that we're starting to get that lovely blend. I'm going to come back here because we're in the second column here. This is the pink. Over here into the orange. So my paintbrush is basically just damp. Now he's supposed to be orange over here. Oh, that's the wrong colour. Don't worry. If you do that, we can... everything is redeemable. When I come back at the end with the outlines, you'll see what I mean. But don't worry if you're out of the lines a bit. And even with the Strathmore Bristol paper, if you do get a bit heavy-handed with water, it does tend to pill a little bit, but once that dries, once all the colours have dried, that pilling will actually come right off with your finger. It's really quite amazing, which is why I love this paper. So now we're in the queue, pink. And I know we're not supposed to have purple on this, but I am going to come back with a teensy little bit of purple at the top of that Q just to give it that little bit of extra definition. So you get these lovely soft blends. The other thing that you can do for touch-ups, if you need to, I'll come back and do that in a minute, is actually pick up colour directly off the brush, or with the brush off the pen. So you can see I'm just working those colours together until they're pretty seamless. Now, I want to put a little bit of purple at the top of that Q. I don't want it to be too much, so what I'm actually going to do is actually use my paintbrush straight on there to pick up some of the colour. So it's very subtle. There we go, just a touch of the purple. I'm going to come back with the orange. I was trying to come up with a saying that was, because this obviously this is the summer retreat, summer creative retreat, something that was summer orientated, as well as the fact that I love this sunrise colour scheme. So I also happen to be a huge Eagles fan, even if that does age me a bit. So this obviously is a famous Eagles song, Tequila Sunrise. It's also a great cocktail. But for me, it was just about summer and pretty sunrises, and which is the opposite to what we've got here in Australia at the moment, because we're in the middle of winter and it's rainy and muddy and cold. And you can see one of the things I like about one of the reasons I use a number 2 brush is that it's got that the fine tip. You can still do the little detail. So there you can see we're really starting to get that nice run of blends from top to bottom. We'll keep working across. And if you're looking for color inspiration, often take it from pictures. And there's a great app that you can get on your iPhone and probably on other phones as well called Coolers. And you can import a picture into the app and it will allow you, and then it will then basically give you a color breakdown of the colors that are in it. But another really good tip for choosing a color palette when you're looking for colors to blend is to choose the ones that are next to one another on the color wheel. So they call it an analogous color scheme. Like these are as well: red, purple, pink, orange, yellow, green. They run next to each other on the color wheel. So they're not opposing one another. You're always going to get nice blends. It's sort of an easy way to pick colors that are going to work together and not against one another. So as you can see, you know, back here when I was getting those, a little bit of pilling on the paper, it just brushes right off. There's some more there too, but once this is dry, I'll just be able to brush it straight off. So that's why this Strathmore Smooth Bristol is amazing. Now we're on to Sunrise. So the top of here is orange. Again, I'm just following my pencil lines. yellow. Yellow. Which is obviously the sunny part of sunrise. Now, I was doing some research about the difference between sunrise and sunset colours, and they say that the light at sunrise is much cooler and sunset is warmer. Yellow. I might just come back with a teensy bit of orange on the top of my S to and now we're into our our pale blue. Again, border, paper towel, picking up the colour, blending into the colour above. And this is where, just by doing it, you're really going to get the experience of how much water you do and don't need or want. It's the best way to learn how to do it. So hopefully you guys are all blending along with me as we do this. I'll just finish this S off. So we've got our 373 now. On the bottom. Which is quite a bit more intense. So you can use more water. See, this colour's got a lot in it. A lot more than the others. I've just put a lot on. So if I can use the water to really dilute the colour. So, it's not nearly as intense anymore. So blending isn't hard. It's just about having the right materials, I think, particularly the paper. I can't stress that for you guys enough about how important the paper is. See, that blue into yellow is making sort of a pretty green. There we go. And here we are on to our last letter. After this, we can start our outlines. Again, every single time we blend one of these colours, we're actually picking up the grey underneath it. And like I said, that sort of gives you a really nice, they're all tinted with that grey, which makes them work together even better. Now, don't ask me why I'm choosing to do the blue first, because it doesn't really, that is a good question. But I'm going to come back with the yellow. At the top, and I'll probably add in just a tiny bit of orange as well. And you can see this yellow, when it hits the blue, is creating a nice green for an extra bit of colour definition. So let's put a tiny bit of orange on the top of the S. like so. And then all we've got left really is our teal on the bottom. I haven't put any there, so I'm just going to pick it up with my brush. Underneath here. Dilating that slightly. Didn't really give me much definition, so I'm going to come back a little bit more. There we go. All right, so our blending part is now finished. And we're going to come back with our outlines. And these are what I call abstract outlines. So now we've got this sort of lovely sunrise color scheme. You want it to be fairly dry. But the thing is, it does actually dry quickly. Now what we need now is our micron pen. So I've got 03, 05, 08. I'm going to use the 05 to do my outlines. And what we're going to do is we're going to trace the edges of the letter, and there will be a through stroke and a cross stroke on each letter, and we're going to cross them over. So I'm going to, let's start with the T. So this is the 05, so I'm going to trace the edge of my T. Now here's the through stroke, so he joins to the E. And what we want to do is we want to make every stroke, this one here is the cross stroke. So you can see he's crossing through. And I usually add a little extra thing there. For the cross of the T, we do the same thing. So I'm following him, he's crossing over, and then we've got the through stroke here. And it's the same, your through strokes, so your through stroke is here, and your cross stroke is there. Now you can see that's where I was telling you it doesn't really matter if you go outside of the edges, because this will take care of everything. So what we're doing, once again, this is my through stroke, okay? I'm following the E all the way around to where it meets the A, and then my cross stroke comes through on the right hand side. On all the letters that don't have reverse ovals, and I don't think I have any reverse ovals, a reverse oval is on a B and a P. It's the other way around, but all standard letters, your through stroke is your left hand side, and your cross stroke, continuous stroke, is left hand side, and the cross stroke is the right hand side. So we'll do that again on this cue, okay? We're coming on the right hand side, which is continuous, so it comes up and it meets there, and then the cross stroke is the right hand side like that. And the same with the tail, the continuous stroke will come down the left all the way to here. So we're just following the line of the letter. We don't want to come through the main part there, and he comes around here like this, okay? And basically we're like that. And here's my cross stroke. U, continuous, cross, continuous, cross or through, continuous, through. On my little dot, I sort of, there isn't really one, it's just round. So we're going to keep doing that all the way. I'm just going to do my A. You can see I've got continuous, through, continuous, cross, through. So that continuous, or the lines all cross one another. So here we are, we're coming through continuous, cross, cross. Here we are for the round. That's continuous, so it comes all the way through and connects to the A. And here's my cross stroke. So we're going to do the same for sunrise. We're going to come around, remembering now this is a reverse oval on the base of the S, so we are going to get one. So you can see that the cross stroke is actually not on the right hand side, that's a reverse oval, so the cross stroke is on the left hand side. And through, there we go, U, continuous, continuous, through, N, now these guys are a little tricky. The N actually, I like to make it square at the top like that. As you can see, apart from your reverse oval on the S's, the continuous strokes are all left hand side and the through strokes are right hand side. So here we go, that's continuous, through. We're literally just following the lines of letters. Continuous, reverse oval, and then we do the E, final one, and that's the first step in the outlines. The next thing I'm going to come back with the 03, and we will come back and do a shadow as well, but I like to just enhance the shadow side. So the 03, we're just literally doing these sketchy little lines everywhere. There was a through stroke. So pretty much keeping on the right hand side, just creating a scratchy line. This gives us a little bit more depth. So scratch, 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 scratch. And I'm not, you know, there's no, again, what I love about these outlines is it's not about perfection. It's just about squiggly lines. So you can see that this is starting to add a little bit of depth and movement as we go around. Now, I'm not going to put it there because it's actually going to be enhanced on the shadowed side. So that's again where these reverse ovals come a little bit difficult. I'm sticking on the right hand side. Right hand side. I'll do it on and there you have it. Now, what I also come back and do again, just adding a little bit of depth, is on the other side that we haven't done the, so on the right hand side now, right? I'm just going to add a little bit of movement by making some lines. My pen isn't liking me right now. Remember, okay, so literally on the side that we just little, it's almost like movement lines to enhance things. There we go. Is now we're going to use the Micron 08, and what I'm going to do is, for extra definition on my cross through lines, I'm going to come through and make them a little bit deeper. It's almost like when you're adding shadows. Okay, we're just going to, everywhere I've done that through stroke, I'm just making it deeper with the 08. These are all pretty subtle things that we're doing, but just to sort of add that little bit of extra definition and depth and movement everywhere. So I'm pretty much sticking to the right hand side, just where I've drawn that first line with the 05. So now you can see that just the right hand slide has gone slightly deeper. So we've got our blends, we've got our outlines, it's created a little bit of movement and interest, and what I'm going to do is come back with my favorite N95 and we're going to do a shadow. So again, on the right hand side, where we just did that deep line, where we did the scratchy lines, I'm now going to create a little bit more depth, sticking to the right hand side of every letter, but not going over where we've done the colour. Just letting my pen, the shape of my pen tip, sort of hug the shapes of the letters. Right hand side. So we're right and under in the shadows. Right and under. As you can see, it's like I said, it's just, this is not about perfection. It's just about creating interest and movement. So you can see now I've got that extra that real sort of depth in there. I hope you can see the shadows. So we've got shadows, so we've got blends, we've got outlines, we've got shadows. The next thing we do is we get our Uniball Signio Broad, and we're going to do highlights. So shadows are the right hand side, highlights the left hand side. So we can imagine if the here's my sun, so it's casting shadows on the right and the highlights are going to be on the left. So what we're going to come here and do with the Signio Broad, one of the nice things is it's so opaque. This is like basically a small triangle, and I'm just going to do dots down there, but you could, you know, you can do hearts, you could do crosses, you could do whatever you wanted. So left hand side, and I'm going to do each letter instead of graduating the size of those dots, so the first one is bigger. A little bit there. Yes. One by one. I'm using these are quite thick with their ink, so you can quite easily smudge them, which is why, being right-handed, I'm working left to right. Finally, over here with our S. E. Okay. So the highlights bring it forward, the shadows push it back, so this creates a little bit more depth. So that's okay. I was about to say that's it, but no, we can't leave well enough alone. And this is where the Uniball Signio glitter pen comes into play. Now, I pretty much like to add glitter to everything. So what I'm going to do is, where we've run those little scratchy lines in the same place we've done those deep lines, and just on the inside of where we use the 08, I'm going to put a line of glitter. It's subtle, but it's pretty. So every time there's all those through lines, just gives it that little lift. On the right hand side of each of the letters. Can you see that? Makes me happy. So it's not like it's taking away from anything that we've already done, it's really just adding a bit more. Almost there. Okay, so hopefully if you're doing this at home with me, you can see, I don't know how the light will show up on camera, but it's really pretty, and it just, you know, when it catches the light, adds that little bit of extra. And so now I'm just going to use my black 05 to come over the little bit at the top, the letters that we lettered in. So we're giving it the title. Pencil it in, so there we go. Just another tequila sunrise. If you haven't heard the version of this song by the Eagles, you should stop what you're doing after this when it's finished and go and play it, because it's a great song. But so there you go, guys. That's our piece. That you've got your blends, you've got your outlines, you've got your shadows, you've got highlights, and then you've got glitter. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to turn our Tombos into watercolor, and I've loaded my brush with that color, and I'm literally going to use my pointer finger to tap my brush. That, my friends, is my blended Tombow brush pens. Let's start again. Tombow brush pen blends with abstract outlines and a little glitter. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this. We want to thank you very much for being part of this summer creative retreat. I'm really so humbled and grateful and feel so lucky that Peggy asked me to be part of this. And if you've joined me here today and you've enjoyed doing this, obviously you'll find lots of other things like this over on my Instagram page. And, you know, I hope to see you there. So thanks very much. See you later. Bye.